We were the first sports league on YouTube, the first sports league on Instagram, the first sports league on Snap. By the time I left, 80% of NBA consumption on YouTube happened outside the US.
Yeah. I want to just drill into the NBA for a minute because I led digital at the National Football League. I think popularly people think of the NFL as much bigger than the NBA in the US. But on the digital platforms or the social first digital platforms, certainly, and globally, the NBA is a whole other deal when compared to the NFL. Can you just talk about sort of the mindset at the NBA and what you were doing there that built the NBA so much bigger than the NFL on these platforms?
Yeah, and I can take very little credit for it, but I think the first thing was an insight that reaching these international audiences and global audiences matters a lot. And commissioner many years ago decided to open the aperture a little bit on what rights were available to other creators, what we were going to post ourselves on social, and really empowered us to be the first on every platform. We were the first sports league on YouTube, the first sports league on Instagram, the first sports league on Snap. Pick your platform.
And it's sort of a challenger's mindset, right? It's an insurgent mindset.
It is. And, I think the other thing is, we recognize how popular basketball is globally, and that this is an amazing way when games are on in the middle of the night in Europe to reach our audience there and to provide alternatives to the live game, which otherwise that audience might not have, and they might gravitate toward soccer or another sport that isn't primetime. By the time I left, 80% of NBA consumption on YouTube happened outside the US.
Yeah.
It is a massive and huge and rapidly growing audience. And then domestically, I think what we saw was it's a totally different audience. And there isn't a lot of evidence to suggest that social was cannibalizing. In reality, the trends were what the trends were, and you were seeing, Major League Baseball took a very different approach in the sort of middle of the last decade and didn't allow nearly as much content on social. And you weren't seeing youth viewership increase for them. You were actually seeing youth viewership decrease at a faster rate than you were for the NBA. And so my sort of consistent argument was we're actually engaging that audience, and we don't think they're substituting for the live game, but it's making them feel connected to our sport. And if you look at the average audience age of the NBA, which is a decade younger than the NFL in the US, it's hard to draw a direct line between those two things, but I have to think there's a pretty strong connection that the availability and the willingness to engage with the next generation of fan where they're naturally consuming content has a lot to do with that.